Hey everybody, welcome back to the game. Let's pick up where we left off. Our heroes slash scoundrels have, well, they're in control of Spaceport control. However, as they moved in and took over the area, the Overseer, she hit the emergency button and there's a lockdown in progress. The characters are dominating the scene inside, but in a way they are also locked inside. But this helps them at the moment because the security droids outside cannot get to them. And if they could, they would be attacking. The people inside are basically unarmed, except for the Overseer, and Pash has disarmed her. So, we have a bit of a situation here. Vex has already unlocked the clamps on the ship, so if they can get to it and fly away after installing the new device to repair the ship, they can make their escape. But they've got to get out of here first. And Vex is still working on that. So Oskara and the Wookiee are kind of keeping their weapons pointed at the people in the room and making sure that the security droids don't find their way in. But Oskara says that she wants to step over here and take a closer look at the Overseer to see if she has anything that might be useful to them. Some sort of data, some sort of badge, something that might help out the party in some way. Pash, in this process now, he's trying to charm the Overseer. He's trying to talk with her and kind of get her, make her sympathetic to their cause. And he's going to start this by saying that they're basically good guys at heart. They're on the run from Timo, and they're just doing what they need to do to get out of this place alive. So as he's in the process of doing that, the Twi'lek manages to pick up some information that might be useful off of her datapad. And she takes that over to Vex, who is working on the console there. Vex is trying to find a way out of this to see if he can override the lockdown or somehow work out a way to find another exit. So let's go with Vex first. Well, let's start assembling the pool of dice for 41 Vex as he attempts to dig deeper, slice deeper into the Spaceport control system to find a way out of there using his computer skills. We've got 4 dice. Now Oskara has made an attempt to aid or assist in the situation here, and with some of the data that she quickly discovers on this datapad, it might be of some use to 41 Vex, giving him some quick access to some critical systems. So we're going to give him a boost die here. Now, how hard is this check? Well, most of our checks so far have been using 1 or 2 of the purple dice, but the place is in lockdown, and like I said, they're dominating the inside. They've got complete control there, but to get out, it's going to be challenging. So let's give him the 3 dice. If Vex cannot do this, it's really up to Pash to see if he can have the Overseer reverse the situation. Let's see how we did. I'm counting 2 successes, 1 failure. So that's what we need to look at first. So canceled. That's going to leave us with a net success of 1. Alright, let's look at advantage and disadvantage. We've got 2 advantage here, 4 advantage, 5 advantage, and 3 threat. So it comes out positive. Vex is not only successful, but he has some sort of other side effect that is going to help him out with this particular attempt. Well, the droid manages to pull up the plans for spaceport control, and after a little bit of clever work, he manages to open up two doors. First would be this one, allowing them a clear exit from the main control room, and then he manages to unlock the side entrance. So that would allow the party to escape, probably avoiding the security bots outside, unless one or all of them have circled around to the side entrance. The players will just have to find out. So, Pash. Let's see what Pash is going to, what kind of progress he can make with the Overseer. And of course, if we were at the table playing together, this would probably require a little more information from Jason and what his exact intentions were and what he was trying to tell the Overseer, you know, whether it was a good plan or not. And probably a good game master would award boost die or setback dice accordingly. But we're doing this definitely long distance. So let's give him his basic charm roll. And then, because Pash is a pretty good looking fellow, and some of the ladies like the bad guys, why don't we give him a boost die here? But let's pull Pash's pool together first. Well, this is not the smuggler's first attempt at trying to be charming. So he gets to start off here with one of these proficiency dice. And this goes along with his ability dice here. So, going with those dice, I'm going to give him the boost die for just being a handsome dude. And he's trying to reach out in a way that's non-violent. He's trying to reach out to her and try to convince her that they're on the run from the bad guy. And they're just trying to, you know, peacefully get off this planet if they can. They're only fighting when they need to defend themselves. So he's pleading with her. Difficulty of the check. We've got the Overseer's dice here to resist. This is a challenge die and a regular difficulty die. And then, because of the situation, there may be some others in the party that aren't quite so charming to her. We're going to add a setback die. Definitely we've got a situation where she's been disarmed, and she certainly doesn't like that. So let's see how this roll goes for the smuggler. Is she going to listen to him? Successes, let's count those first. We have 1, 2 successes. Advantage, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 advantage. But we also have 4 threat. But interesting, we don't have any failures. So the advantage and the threat are going to cancel each other out. I think it's 4 to 4. And successes, we've got 2 and no failures. So basically, Pash has succeeded and sort of won over the sympathies of the Overseer for the moment. Well, just then, the door opens. Vex has cleared the way. Everybody's ready at any time to escape spaceport control and start heading for the ship. But what are you going to do with all the hostages and the Overseer? So some different ideas are tossed around. The Wookiee might suggest that, well, let's knock them all out. And of course the Overseer says, no, that's a bad idea. The Twi'lek suggests, let's tie her up. And then the Overseer says, no, you're not tying me up. I'm not I'm not going to agree to that. So then the overseer herself suggests, why don't you just lock us in the office? Take everybody out of here. Nobody has to get hurt. Nobody has to get hit. We'll just explain that you took us in there at gunpoint, threatened to kill us all, and lock us in the office. So, wanting to get out of there as fast as you can, you take the overseer and the other main control room staff and lock them inside the office and blast the controls on the door. So now the party is able to make a stealthy escape out the side entrance of the main control room. Perhaps having some of the heavier hitters in the front to make sure the coast is clear. You head out the side entrance and you do not see any sight of the security droids. You've got a chance to run here. You can make it. So we're going to say that you get out of this situation. And what's next? Well, according to the adventure book, we've reached an interlude. I believe some experience may be gained here, some experience points, and then there's something about destiny. We're all learning how to play this game together, and this says here that the game has been pretty linear so far, basically going from one point to another point to another point. But this would be where players would be allowed a little more freedom as far as choosing where they want to go and what they want to do. They may want to go straight to the ship and try to fly away. They may want to explore a little bit or see what is up with that Imperial shuttle that just landed. And you see some other advice here. They may come up with some creative way to get Trex off his ship so it will be easier to steal. Anyway, it says before we move on to that, it's time to award the hero players some experience and learn about destiny. Well, it says here with experience that each of the player characters, referred to as PCs, they're awarded 10 XP, or experience points, each. And they're allowed to turn to the next page of their character folio, where the level up procedure is explained. Well, let's take a look here at Pash's character folio. And it talks about advancement. And you see over here an upgrade menu and how much experience points that it will cost. So if you want to upgrade your deceit skill from 1 yellow and 2 green to 2 yellow and 1 green, that will cost you the full 10. Or you can upgrade these other skills, skullduggery. You can take a quick draw talent, and it says that once per round, draw or holster a weapon or accessible item as an incidental. I guess that means kind of as a free action. Or skilled jockey talent. I think it allows you to remove a setback die before making, I think, a pilot check. So anyway, there's some options to choose there as far as how to expend or spend the experience points. Let's come back to that part. And here it will show you on the character sheet how those, if you spend it on leveling up deceit, how that's going to change your pool of dice from this to this. But before we do that, let's talk about destiny. Well, the first thing we need to do with destiny is to build the destiny pool. And we're going to be rolling a new die for this. It's called a force die. And it looks like for each, I think it's for each player, for each hero, yeah, each hero now rolls the force die. And we start putting these tokens into play. And let me give you a sample roll to see. So we take this die, we haven't used it yet, and let's say we're rolling for Pash the Smuggler. And we're assembling the destiny pool, and he rolls 2 black. Well, I would take these tokens. They have two sides, a white side and a dark side, and we would put those into the pool. And then let's say we roll for Oscara, a Twi'lek bounty hunter, and she rolls 2 white. We would put that into the pool. And then we would continue for the Wookiee and for Vex, the droid. And we would have this pool of destiny tokens. Well, what do those do? Well, from what I'm understanding, and for any of you experts out there who know, perhaps you can educate us a little bit better, but from what I'm reading, it looks like, let's say that we went back to Vex 41, or 41 Vex, and his computer slicing attempt, and he was rolling these 4 dice. Maybe this was an important or a critical moment, and he really wanted to have a better chance. He could take one of the white tokens here, the light side of the Force, and flip it over and say that he's spending it. And then it flips over, and he gets to upgrade one of his dice. And when you upgrade a die, it's going to change from green and go to yellow. And the yellow die is better than the green, so it improves his chances. And as far as I can tell, just from scanning this very quickly, I think you're only allowed to do this once. I don't think he can flip over a bunch of tokens. But like I said, for those of you out there that have more experience with this than I do, please don't hesitate to jump in and help us out in the comments. Now, what about the reverse situation? Let's say that we were talking about the difficulty of unlocking the doors at the station during the lockdown. We were rolling 3 of the purple. Well, then the GM, and that's me in this case, I could take one of the dark-sided tokens and flip it over, and I could upgrade one of my dice from a purple to a red, making it more difficult, more stressful, more challenging for the players. And you see it kind of balances here, going back and forth. And once again, I think it's only 1 destiny token per check, because otherwise I think you could kind of get into an endless upgrading back and forth where you're flipping over a bunch of tokens. But I'll probably try to research that a little bit better, but that's my basic understanding at this point, and that's what the Destiny pool is about. Alright, well, we've come to a pretty good stopping point for the moment. This was an interesting experiment here on my channel to try to run a bit of this game involving some people from Facebook. These kind of things work very well when people are active and have the time to watch the videos and post something back. But it's very easy for these things to also crash and burn. If somebody has, somebody gets sick, or somebody gets really busy at their work or with their family. So we had a bit of a slowdown. Some folks got sick and got behind in watching the videos and different things, and that's totally understandable. But due to the slowdown, why don't we just pause here and kind of soak in what we've learned, and then we'll kind of reassess if we want to pick it up again and continue the rest of this adventure. But whether we do or not, I think we've had a good look at the basics of this this new version of the Star Wars game from Fantasy Flight. We were missing something that's really cool about this dice pool system. And when you're rolling these dice and you start to get these threat and advantage rolled on the dice, or you get some of these things like the what was that, despair, and then in the positive case it's triumph, right? when you get these kind of things, part of, or I should say, it's been said that one of the best parts of this system of rolling multiple dice like this with the different faces is that the players get to describe what that advantage is. They don't get to decide if it's successful or not. That's determined by this symbol. But if they start rolling these advantage, they can choose how they want to spend it, or how they want to describe in the scene what's happening. And of course, the more they roll, the more, the better the advantage will be for them. And then in response, the game master can then describe in a colorful way what happened with the threat, or why things are turning bad. So let's say the character succeeded at their roll, but then there was a bunch of threat. The GM could say, well, you succeed, but things there's a negative consequence. Or the other way around, the player character might fail, but then they have a bunch of these advantages there. They might describe how maybe they didn't accomplish exactly what they wanted to do, but still something positive came from the attempt. And maybe it created a situation that made things more difficult for the bad guys, which might cause them to suffer some of these dice in their next attacks against the character, the heroes or something. So a lot of interesting things there that can be done at the table when you're playing face-to-face. And people play this over Skype or Google Hangouts or Roll20 or other, I think it's called Roll20, other places that play where you're allowed to play not exactly face-to-face, but kind of as close as you can do it over the computer. So those are some good options as well if you can't get together at the same table. And for me here in Japan, of course, that's a huge challenge. So anyway, I really appreciate everybody that participated in this experiment, and I hope you had a good time playing and a good time learning some things about this game. And thanks to all of you that have been watching. Like I said, we'll take another look at this a little bit later and see if we want to continue on with the story. But thanks again to everybody for making it with me and joining me on this journey so far. Catch you later.